Hey everybody, Phil from Two Forks. Welcome back. Hopefully welcome back. If you didn't see the first one, you're going to want to watch that because none of this will make any sense if you didn't. So I'll show you in a second. We're back to building our chair, and I'll show you in a second how I lay out the legs, that back leg, because if you don't have any way of knowing, it'll be pretty hard to do. So I'll show you how mine's laid out if you're trying to follow what I'm doing, which I hope you are. One other quick thing I wanted to mention, and it may be too late, and I apologize, but when you're going to try and dry fit this together to make sure it's all nice, don't put the tenons into the back slats, or if you're putting the tenons in the bottom and then putting the back slats in there, whatever, you understand. Because you'll be able to take this back apart after you dry fit it, but the tenons probably won't come out of the back slats, and you'll have to use, some kind of pliers or something to get them out, and you typically end up mutilating. I know because I've done it. You'll mutilate the loose tenons, and the ones that I use for here are the 50 millimeter ones. So you got 2.5 centimeters or whatever going down in here. That's quite a bit. These aren't the right ones. Anyway, these are expensive, and you don't want to ruin them. So when you go to dry fit this, just dry fit it without the tenons in it. Make sure it all looks good, and then go for it with the glue. It'll be fine. So without further ado, I will show you how I lay out that back leg, and then we'll see if we can get this thing all put together. See you in a second. All right, so hopefully you can see this. Where I start is on this square part. This is where the seat part's gonna come in here, and I wanted to just have one square section. So I start right there. That's your starting point. And then, as I've mentioned, I call it the 15-degree chair because this is 15 degrees, this is 15 degrees. So easy enough. You just come down 15 degrees off of that. This dimension from the bottom of that to, or is it from center? Let me check. Yeah, from center to the bottom is 13 and a half. If you want to keep going with the same things that I'm doing here. And this is 3 3/4, okay? And the overall length is 36 inches. So once you get this 13 and a half down here, then you can measure up to 36. Again, just 15 degrees, 15 degrees. And then I sort of just took my giant, whatever these things are called, and then I just sort of traced an angle on there, or a curve, sorry, and just made it however I wanted to make it. You can do that however you want. And then I just drew a straight line and just sort of intersected these straight lines at a same point down. I think it's like 4.5 inches, 4.5 inches, and that's what forms the back side of this. And as you can see, because I'm cheap and stupid, that I got a 2x8 instead of a 2x10. Excuse me. So this top piece is 4 inches here, but it goes off. So I'm going to have to put a little triangle piece on here, which is what I've done on all of the chairs. I don't know why I keep repeating the same mistake. I guess it's because I'm just super cheap and don't feel like buying a 2x10. And plus it's kind of wasteful. And as you've heard me say before, I don't like wasting anything. So if it's a matter of using most of this, and then I'll just take part of this and just put it on here and finish it up. So with the 2x10, there'd be so much waste, and I hate wasting stuff. So there it is. I hope that helps. If you're confused about something, just leave me a comment and I'll try and straighten it out. But that's our leg, and I'm going to go and cut a couple of these on the bandsaw now. Alrighty, we're rolling now. I got the front legs cut, and keep in mind that the bottom of the front legs is 15 degrees, and then the part for the handrest is actually 20 degrees. So don't flip those over, and particularly don't do one and the other. Anyway, 15 and 20. So what I did is I took the piece that's going to go across and form the little seat area, and I just put it where it's going to go on the leg, and then just marked it on this leg, and then square down with it still in the same place, and then transfer that line up. Easy peasy. And then what we want to do is take our leg, remember, do the right angle on the bottom, and just flush that with the bottom of the other one. Get it nice and flush, mark where it's going to go, and this is where the leg, when it's over here, when this one comes across, that's where it's going to end up. Put a little X where at the top of it so you don't go down by mistake like I've done 100 times. And then we're just going to do the same thing with the other leg. Take it over. Make sure you got the right angle, which I do. Flush it up with the other one. Mark it where it's going to go on here. And that's where this is going to be when it sits out here. So easy peasy. So I know the length of these from the original chair that I made. So this top one's 19 3/4 from, or yeah, no, what is it? 19 and a half. The top one's 19 and a half, and that's square to the long point. So I'm going to cut that, and then I'm going to get this bottom one set up. I know that we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to mark these because I know this is the bottom. I've already measured it up, and that I mark those. Do the same thing, mark that, and that's where the bottom rail is going to come across. So once we get all these things marked, then I'm going to take out the domino rig again and start mortising and putting the little loose tenons in there, and we'll mortise and tenon these things together. Alrighty, so I got these cut. Once again, from the square point to the long point here is 19 and a half, and the long point to the short point, or short point to the long point, they're the same, is 18 and 3/4. So that seems to work. If you make them smaller, bigger, whatever, you can do whatever you want. But that's how I did mine. And then I'm gonna mark these for the dominoes, and I want to get decent spacing on it. So I've already done this, marked it on here. But what you want to do is say, okay, that looks good, and then pretty much take the center of it and mark across so you have lines in both, and then extend those lines out so when you go to use the domino, you can actually see those lines. And I'm going to do that on these different all of those 4 spots, and then we'll have the thing pretty much joined together, and we'll be ready to roll. And once we get that done, then it becomes pretty easy. Get the back on, and then it's pretty smooth. So we should be able to finish this up tomorrow. Okay, everybody. So we got these leg assemblies all put together, and this obviously is the one that I've already built. Leg assemblies are put together, and I want to make this bottom assembly here, and it's just 1 by 1.5 by 1.5 inches, easy enough. Find whatever scrap you have laying around, you can make those, and you can see obviously there's 6 of them. These side pieces I cut at about 18 and a half. It doesn't really matter. They can go a little further or a little further. It doesn't. It makes no difference. So go with that dimension. It seems to work. And I have these things set down so that they're flush with the bottom of this piece here. And that way the cushions sit down in there a little bit, and you don't see the edge of the cushion or anything. It seems to work out pretty well. And this is the same 2 3/4 that everything else is. But it has an angle cut on the front of it, so it doesn't sit square and weird on this. And that angle is right 15 degrees, like everything else on this chair. So it's nice and flush with the top of this. Just once you get this assembly in, the bottom assembly, and it's flush with this outside rail, then just make a line, come in that same plane, make a line in there, and that's where the top of this one goes. Pretty easy stuff. But right now I'm going to get this made really easy. Obviously I don't have to show you how to make 1.5 by 1.5 material, and I'll get that set up, and then we'll start putting this whole thing together. I will show you how to make these arms because they're a little bit tricky, not too hard, but I'll show you the dimensions that I use. That seems to work out pretty well for me. Okay, see you in a sec. All right, so we got the bottom seat part made up. So all we do is flush it with that bottom of the rail, and I like to flush it with the back side of the front leg. It doesn't really matter too much where you put it, so you can put it anywhere, but that's what I do. And just screw it in, flip it over, grab the other leg, flush it to the bottom, flush it with the front of the leg, and throw your screws in. I actually like to put 5 screws in there. You can put 100 screws in if you want, but 5 seems to hold on pretty good for me. So then I'm just going to stand it up and do the same thing basically with the back. I've got the outsides of where I need to put the back marked, and pre-drill it, obviously, throw a couple screws in there. And then at this point I realized that I forgot to mark the inside, so I don't know where to put it. So all right, let's mark it. So come in about a 1/2 inch from the back, and then come down about 1.5 inches. And this is to your pleasure. Obviously you can do whatever you want, and then just bada bing, throw a couple screws in there, and it's all good. tap the back 1/2 inch again from the back side, keep it consistent, and we are good to go. So now that we have this, we'll move on to the arms, and then we'll pretty much be all set with the chair. Okie dokie. So the last thing we need to do is put the arms on. Or we gotta cut them first, and then we can put them on. Unless you want them like this. So they got a notch into this back side, and the way I figure that out is I have a 2-inch mark on here, and that's my overhang. So I just put that on my front leg, and I hold it along the angle of this front leg, which we know is 20 degrees. So that's going to slope back 20 degrees. Mark it where the back leg is on here. And we'll have 2 marks. And I've already marked one on here, so I'll show you what it looks like. So here it is. 2 marks. Those are the 2 marks. Can you see those? Yeah. These are the 2 marks we made on here. Now I've put it in Sharpie. And I've done a little magic and some editing magic, and it's a different day. You'll probably notice because I'm like wearing different stuff. Anyway, so now you can see. You couldn't see it before when I videoed it before. So forgive me. But those are the 2 marks, and all I do is I keep an 1 3/8 on, so this area is going to get cut out. So just take this over to your chop saw, put it flat on your upright on your chop saw, and cut that angle, and cut it down until you're about 1/4 from the bottom, so you don't go too far, and then finish it off with a handsaw. And the way I get this curve in here is pretty simple. I just come down 18 inches. And then I come in 3 inches from the outside, make a mark. And then as you can tell, I just sort of freehand that. But after I cut it with the jigsaw, then I'll take it over to the sander and make it smooth and make it nice. And then I just repeat it. So that's basically how I get all of this. This little back, you can leave square. I tend to put just a little bit of a curve in here, a little bit of a flare, if you will, just because that's what I like to do. And the top, basically, all I do is cut a little 45. If you want to round that over, you can do it. If you want to make teeth on the end of it, you can do it. Whatever you want to do. Make sure you do you. Okay? So I'm going to go. I'm going to get this cut. I don't need to show you that. It's pretty easy stuff. Just easy jigsaw stuff. And then we're going to put this on and we're going to have a chair. I hope. All right. Got her done. Came out great. Happy with it. And by the way, just every now and then I like to just remind myself of how stupid that I am. I tried to unclog a can of spray paint with my drill. And guess what? I did, but I turned it into a rocket in the process. And it took off, spray paint all over the place on my drill, all over my bench, my cabinet that I made, and it's all over the floor. Shopcat's running for his life. It was a mess. But that's what I do. So these arms, I just screw straight down through here and screw straight in through here. And I put a little glue on there because these will get a little action. So you just want a little something to help hold them on. I tested it. Perfect. Doesn't move. It's all good. So make yourself one. It's $50 in material. Maybe you probably get it for $40. And not hard. Watch the video, and if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, go ahead and leave them, and I'll explain it if I wasn't clear enough. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one.